Okay. Welcome to the Uintah County Commission meeting held in the Commission chambers. It is, what is the date today? May 9th, 2022, 11 a.m. We ask if you would silence your phones or turn them off if you would. We'll start the day agenda out with a prayer from Jeremy Raymond and then the pledge from Dana Brown.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful to come before Thee this Monday morning in commission meeting and give You thanks for the blessings. We appreciate the moisture that we've received over the past couple of days, and we would ask Thee to continue to bless us with the needed moisture to fill our reservoirs and lakes and rivers. And we're grateful for this community in which we have to live. Help us to serve one another and to look for opportunities to help each other. And we're grateful for this great county in which we live and this great nation. Bless those nations that are struggling, that have conflict, and they can find peace and come to a resolution. We're grateful for our armed forces and their families, and bless them and strengthen them. And we're glad to be here today, and I ask Thy Spirit to be with us. And we say these things in Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes for May 2nd, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 2nd, 2022.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, the report of warrants and review of county signature certified list of claims, we're going to table that until Thursday. We have a meeting scheduled Thursday. We're going to put that on the agenda. That meeting is to do with Senate Bill 162. We're going to talk about, get the interpretations and everything down of how that's supposed to run, and then we'll deal with that on Thursday after the meeting. So we'll go to cemetery certificates.
Commissioner, several cemetery certificates today. Jensen Cemetery, Albert Leo Snow, Lita C. Snow, Janelle Snow, and Lita Jean Snow. Plat A, Block 1A, Space 21, A and B. Plat A, Block 1A, Space 22, A and B. Plat A, Block 1A, Space 23, A and B. Plat A, Block 1A, Spaces 24, A and B. Moving to LaPointe Cemetery, Neil Bergstrom, Block 92, Lot A, Spaces 5 and 6. Continuing LaPointe Cemetery, Troy Bergstrom, Block 92, Lot A, Spaces 7 and 8. And continuing LaPointe Cemetery, Rick Maxwell and Jody Maxwell and Brandon Maxwell, Block 92, Lot A, Spaces 2 through 4. Moving to the Vernal Cemetery, Amanda Greenhow, Block 875, Lot 3, Space number 4.
Okay.
Did you run a sale this week on?
Must have. It's getting close to Memorial Day. People's happen to start thinking.
Must have been. Okay. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the cemetery certificates as presented.
Seconded.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thank you. Tax matters today. Mike, nobody, tax matters. Business licenses.
Good morning, Gabby Hawks Blackburn with Community Development. We have two today. The first one is Explore Galore. It's located at 1299 North, 2500 West in the RA1 zone. This is like It's an app that she has created, and she does audio tours for trails all throughout the world, but then she's also doing like in-person guided tours. And as a part of that, like in Uintah County, and as a part of that, she has like a dog mushing team. So she's applied for a kennel license, but the way our planning commission meetings work, that kennel license won't be up for approval until June. And where half of her business is not associated with the kennel, she'd like to get going on that portion. So we are recommending that we approve that portion of this business, the app, audio tours, and those sorts of things at this time. The home will just be used as a home office for that. And the regulations on that are that she follow home-based business rules and regulations, and that the business activities pertaining to the dogs at the home will not be approved until the kennel permit is approved. We can just bring that before you at that time. She won't need to do anything.
Okay. Any questions? Is that everything
No.
on that one?
That's everything on this one, yeah.
Okay. Any discussions on
I
that?
just have a real quick question, and maybe it's just me not understanding. So this is basically a two-part, and we're only dealing with the first part.
Right,
The
yep.
second part will come later.
Yep, but it's all under the same
Potentially.
business name, the same business.
Okay,
So
so if
she's,
the,
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
She's just not gonna do the dog sledding mushing part at this time until that kennel permit gets approved.
Okay, that makes sense. Then I would say if the commission is so inclined to approve it, if the motion can say that there's no reliance on the approval of this portion to the second portion, right? That needs to have its own
So
consideration
basically,
then.
we're approving it, except.
Approving the first part as presented with no reliance on if she decides to move forward on the second part, it will just need to come forward. Otherwise, we might as well just approve all of it now if she's relying on this part for the second part. Am I making sense, or am I not
No,
understanding?
that makes sense. So if the kennel permit is denied, she'll still move forward with her audio tours.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the Explore Galore business license as a home-based business as presented, excluding the second part of the dog kennel licensing requirements. And we'll bring that back to us when that is approved,
At a later date.
at a later date.
Okay,
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Okay,
Awesome. Our next one is Dino Bite Food Co. This is a food truck, and it's located at 1001 East, 4500 South, parcel number 54519 in the I-1 zone, so it's industrial. They're just parking there. Obviously, the food truck will go wherever and park to sell the food. The fire, health department, building, they've all looked at this and think it's great. The only regulations on this really are that they follow all fire, health, and building regulations.
okay, any further questions on this one? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the business license for Dino Food Company,
Dino Bite Food Co.
Dino Bite Food Company, which is a food truck, and they need to follow all the health and fire requirements in addition to their business license, as part of their business license.
Okay,
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed.
Thanks.
Is that everything? Thank you, appreciate it. You can run down to Ellen? Yes. Okay, thanks. Next item on the agenda is the road maintenance agreement.
Scott Hardman, Road Department. Just like to present the road maintenance agreement between the Uintah County and the Forest Service for your signature. I presented this last week. Tegan looked at it. I did not have the Schedule A attached to it. She has looked through it and approved it, if you guys are good with it.
We good?
Looked at him.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, that was with the Forest Service?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Ashley National Forest Service Road Maintenance Agreement maintenance agreements as presented.
Okay,
Second.
I I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks, Scott. Next item is now I'm gonna say Kone Elevator Maintenance Agreement. He's gonna say Kona.
Kone.
Kone.
Hi, Jess Herman, Uintah County Facilities. Yeah, we are renewing our contract with Kone Elevator Maintenance Agreement. It's the elevator for the museum. It's a 5-year term with a rolling 1-year renewal after that. They came back with us with actually a better price than our last set. So we will be now paying $390.65 per month for a service contract with that elevator. So it's just a renewal. They've been taking care of it for a long time.
Okay.
So,
Any further discussion? Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the Kone Elevator Maintenance Agreement, period of 5 years with an annual renewal. And is the price, can it fluctuate, or is that 390 the whole?
it's for the whole,
Okay, with a annual or a monthly rate of $390 or $390
$390.65.
and 65 cents per month, as presented,
Okay.
I'll second.
including authorization of signature.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks, Jess. Oh, I can sign it. I'll turn it in here. Next item on the agenda is the subdivision amendment. Jake and Michelle Massey requesting to amend the Ashley Creek Estate subdivision Phase 1 by creating 2 additional lots on property located at 6155 East Highway 40, Vernal, Utah, serial number 6678.
Good morning, Gabby Hawks Blackburn with Community Development. I have this one as well. So this is a standard subdivision amendment. This map is a little bit small. Kind of zoom up so you can see where it's at. On Highway 40, you kind of go through Naples down towards Jensen. So just so we're all on the same page, because this is somewhat unusual for a standard subdivision amendment. In 2009, we had these 2 parcels that you can see in pink. And then in 2011, this standard subdivision was approved, and Phase 1, which is highlighted in blue here, which is just 1 lot, was broken out. It looked like this at the time. This middle piece was deeded to UDOT. Then, since then, there have been 2 more parcels from this original standard subdivision broken out. And so currently it looks like this. We have our original Phase 1 and then the 2 more. And today we're talking about the Phase 1. So with this Phase 1, they would like to amend the original standard subdivision to, instead of 1 big parcel, for it to be 3. So you'd have parcel A that's across the highway here, parcel B down here, and parcel C up here, with UDOT's section there in the middle. It would look like this on the aerial. It's just that 1 lot broken into 3. All the lots have the required road frontage. All the lots meet the minimum size requirements. UDOT only requested that the section containing the road be deeded to them, which was previously done. Treasurers looked at it. They've approved. Fire has approved. The county surveyor has approved. And the health department has also approved. If you'd like to see the whole plat, this is it. You guys have any questions?
I don't have any. Do you, John?
Sure, I have a question on parcel. So my understanding is UDOT sometimes can be a little stingy with their access onto a state highway. So with the 3 separate parcels, how are we dealing with making sure that they have access if it is split out?
So, my understanding from UDOT is if there's a change in use or intensity that they want to be spoken with. At this point, when I asked about the 3 parcels, they just wanted to make sure that that middle section was deeded to them. Parcels C and A, there's not really a use or intensity. There's no, like, homes being proposed on there. If they did want to build on there and there was a change of the use or intensity, then UDOT might want to get back involved at that point.
So I think on this one, kind of like the other one that I said, if the commission is inclined to approve this, that we make no representation to access to Highway 40, they would have to just work with UDOT on that.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, I entertain a motion.
Well, all right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the amendments to the Jake and Michelle Massey's subdivision, Phase 1, by creating 2 additional lots on property located at 6155 East Highway, Vernal, Utah, which they will have to get any prior approval and agreement through UDOT for access. That is not, we are not granting any access, but.
Okay. Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further comment?
I did have a question. Gabby, you talked about the use and intensity on A and C. What about B?
B has an existing home with an access, and that hasn't been proposed to change either.
I thought B was where they were storing their, oh, okay. Got
Yeah.
it. Nope. That was it.
Okay. Let's see. So
Motion
we have a
second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you. And that's a big 24 by 36 Mylar. Can I just bring that to your offices after?
Be great.
Cool.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have need for a public hearing. And so I will open that public hearing on a budget increase for 2022. Where's Mark?
Right there.
On this public hearing, we go through any comments first?
No,
Go ahead and let him.
it needs to be introduced first, so then the
All right.
public will be able to make comment on it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I got a copy.
Good morning, Mark Caldwell, Uintah County Budget Officer. Commissioners, I have for your consideration today a budget increase. These are increases that have been brought forward by different department heads. I'll just run through it real quickly with you. In the general fund, we have a need in the MIS department for an increase of $10,916. These are for access points that were ordered last year because of delays in shipping and supply chains. They weren't received until just recently, so we need to add that back to this year's budget. The next one is the corrections department. They ordered 2 washing machines last year. Same issue. They didn't arrive till this year, so we need to add that back to this year's budget. Mental health, we budgeted $165,000 that we paid in Northeastern Counseling. That is for county match for state grants. The grants that they received were a little more than we had anticipated, and so we need an extra $5,000 there. We've received an invoice from them for $169,000. Buckskin Hills, the pump was the same issue. Ordered last year, shipped, we received it, we didn't get a bill until this year, so we need to add the $79,000 back to this year's budget. Buckskin Hills, earlier during the winter, they were in need of a backhoe that was purchased. We did a transfer of funds, and this is to replace that transfer. Pass-through grants, they have a FIG grant for trails for $29,000 and a rural county grant Part B for $275,000. Those are new grants that we didn't have when we did the budget, so they'll need to be added. Economic development, they received a grant, and there's 2 more payments of that coming in. It's a total of $37,550. So the next part shows the funding. The first 3 items, the 10,000, the 55, and the 79 will come from fund balance. Sales tax will cover 55,000. FIG grant, 29,450. The rural county grant, 275,000, and economic development UBAC grant of 37,500. That covers the general fund. If we move on to the municipal services fund, we received notification of the liquor control tax that we'll receive this year, and so that budgets that liquor control tax of $63,270 to the various line items. Transit room tax. Tourism received a FIG grant to do, I believe it's videos for trails, $150,000 that we need to add. The conference center has made some adjustments to their staffing, and they also sold a trash compactor that will be added back for capital improvements. So the funding for those is coming from the FIG grant, $150,000. Sell fixed assets, the $16,300 for the trash compactor, and the transit room tax will cover $67,400. The drug court in the past has received donations, and that the donations were in prior years, so the money is sitting in fund balance, and they've requested to use that for training, and so this budget's $3,580 for training and coming out of their fund balance, which was a donation. Western Park had some kind of the same issue here. The $47,000 for capital improvements was a lighting project that was started last year, and we just didn't get wrapped up till this year, so that needs to be added back to this year's budget. And the commission had approved a study for Western Park, and that was $25,000 that we didn't get done last year, so it's being added back to this year. And Western Heritage Museum received a humanities grant for $3,000. That covers all of the items in the resolution. I'd just like to go over a couple of other things to make you aware of, is to kind of give you a picture of where the county stands right now financially. So you'll know as you start to consider certified tax rate and budget amounts, you'll have this in mind, and the public will also be aware of it. So last year for 2021, if we just look at the results for 2021, the general fund right now, these are unaudited numbers, but I would estimate that I don't anticipate them changing. The fund surplus for 2021, the general fund, $2,913,000. So that came about several reasons. Some of the ones I'd like to point out is we had Policy 260 retirements, which reduced our wages because we replaced those people with lower wages. Policy 450 discontinuation, Policy 460 optional 401k discontinuation. Sales tax revenue is coming in way over budget. Our sales tax is just really coming in strong. And then we also supplemented the general fund with $1.5 million out of the self-funded insurance, which helped to reduce our costs there. So with all those things and other things, hard work by employees to cut costs, there are many reasons, but $2.9 million surplus just for the 2021 in the general fund. If we look down at the other significant major funds, you've got municipal services. They were coming in at $317,000 more than expended. Assessing and collecting, $382,000. Library, $163,000. Tourism was, they spent more than they brought in. Part of the reason there, I think, is because there wasn't a transfer from the general fund that was budgeted. So that was short $199,000. It used fund balance. B roads came in at $2.399 million. Western Park was a deficit of $216. The landfill was a surplus of 208. The cemetery was a surplus of 135,000. So if you just add those up, there are other funds who had, most all the funds had surpluses. The surpluses are 6.5 million, the deficits are 415,000. One other item of, I mentioned how sales tax is coming in very strong. So just for example, the county sales tax. This chart will show you what was actually collected from 2017 through April of 2022. The items in pink are projected. And so when we did the 2022 budget, we had to project what 2022 is going to be. So we kind of based those off of 2021 actuals. If you compare where we're at, just in the county sales tax, those 4 months are $280,000 over budget. That more has come in than we anticipated. So we are collecting, our sales are really good in the county right now. If you project that out, we're running at a 22% above what we budgeted. So if you project that out, and that's how I came up with these projections, we would be looking at a budget surplus in just that one tax item, sales tax of $1 million. Just to give that information to you and the public. That's it.
Can I get a copy of that?
You bet.
Is that all the presentation that you have, Mark? Okay. Okay, first I'm gonna see if the commission has any comments.
Just a great lot of information there. Thank you. It was, appreciate that, Mark.
Mark, on the, I noticed on the, and I know you said that it's from last year, but on the pump for Buckskin Hills, that 79,000. That said, is that coming out of fund balance for 79?
I believe it is.
I thought that was a grant.
Well, it would have been a grant last year, and so then when we close the year out, all the revenue goes to fund balance. So if it's in a prior year, that's where the money's sitting, is in fund balance.
But I was under the impression, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that we had to submit. I thought that was that recreational grant, and we had to submit to get that money. Did they just send the total amount?
I'm not sure. We may still have to submit that grant. I'm not positive. But either way,
Is Zeke in here?
Okay.
yeah.
Alicia's not here.
I'm not sure if we build it already or not. If we got it built last year, or if we'd have to build it this year.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission, John? Okay, I'll open it up to the public. Any public?
Mike Wilkins, Uintah County Clerk Auditor. Few comments first of all, I support the budget increase that needs to happen. I question the process that's being done right now according to new code. Budget officer is removed from the code. Also, back on your surpluses there, you moved 1.5 million of restricted monies to make your 2.9 million.
Correct.
That wouldn't have been there, and also that was removing a benefit from the employees to get your 2.9 million on the 401k contributions. Also, you've missed that the health department fund has a negative cash balance because you didn't put enough money in there last year to pay for the contribution you had to make to that one. You're addressing the health department, or the tri-county, or the mental health authority, but not the other. And I'm not gonna point out anything else. I do support the budget increase. I do not think at the process right now that he has any legal authority to do that. As the finance officer for Uintah County states in the code that is the auditor.
You see a problem with what we're doing there, John, or we? Okay.
Tammy Meekum, Uintah County citizen. On the Buckskin Hills Why would a company wait a year to bill you? Who was the company? I'm gonna grandma that. On both the backhoe and the pump.
I don't have that information.
You're the budget officer and you don't have any information?
I don't process the payables and receivables.
So I am gonna come in and grandma that because there is no way a company would wait a year to bill you. And I also want it noted on the minutes that since the budget officer has took control of the budget, last year alone, you did 13 budget increases. I bet the county audit, I bet Mike Wilkins' office has never done that many budget increases. I am gonna come grandma some of this stuff because I think you're funneling from one year to the next year. And who was the backhoe purchased by?
Wheeler.
Wheeler? Okay, I'm gonna grandma that also,
And the pump come from Techno-Alphen.
okay?
It was through a bid process a year
Because
ago.
I just can't believe a company would, with COVID happening, would wait a year to bill you.
It's kind of what we thought too.
So I do want it on the record that since the budget officers took over, he's done 13 budget increases.
Any other public comment? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing then. And I am going to address, Tammy, I'm going to address your comment on the, I give you the two and the information. On the budget increases, that's intentional. That was done because there's nothing worse in this world than a budget that's so inflated and bloated that you can spend money without bringing it to the public. We make a tight budget, and so that anything extra comes to this kind of meeting, and so the public understands it, and they know what we're spending the money on. So it's intentional, done that way. If anything that's spent out of the ordinary, I want it in a public meeting. That was upon my request. I want a tightest budget as we can actually have. And then that way, everything is brought to the public in a public meeting, put up on the screen, and everybody knows what we're talking about. So, I think that's the three questions you asked, Techno-Alphen, Wheelers, and that. Next would be, do you have any further comments, John? I would like to address, we read the statute today on this part of the 162. It comes back to, what is the code number?
173626.
Yes. Do you have a copy of that? Would you like to read it?
I do. So I want to go over 3 different code sections. 2 of them we went over in an administrative meeting last week. And then we have section 26 for today. But I'll go over all 3 just so there's clarity. In 173622, that deals with the transfer of unexpended appropriation balance by department. And that states, after review by the finance officer and in accordance with budgetary and fiscal policies or ordinances adopted by the county legislative body, any department may, A, transfer any unencumbered or unexpended appropriation balance or any part from one expenditure account to another within the department during the budget year, or incur an excess expenditure of one or more line items. A transfer or expenditure under subsection 1 may not occur if the transfer or expenditure would cause the total of all excess expenditures or encumbrances to exceed the total unused appropriation within the department at the close of the budget period. Okay, so section 22 is dealing with intra transfers, so it's within a department. If it was, pick on Matt Kazir in community development, he has a number of line items within his budget. If he says, I need to transfer from travel to something else, or from office supplies to travel, this code section would apply there. So that request would need to be reviewed by the finance officer, which is the county clerk auditor. And then it can move forward. Then we get to 173623. This is, it sounds similar in the title, but it is different. In 23, it says transfer of unexpended appropriation balance by governing body. This is at the request of the finance officer or upon the governing body's own motion. The governing body may by resolution transfer any unencumbered or unexpended appropriation balance or part thereof from one department in a fund to another department within the same fund, provided that no appropriation for debt retirement or interest, reduction of deficit, or other appropriation required by law may be reduced below the required minimum. So 23, remember 22 was intra within department. 23 deals with inter-department transfers. So that would be similar to, I'll pick on Kazir again. Kazir is a very gracious man. He says, I have way too much in my budget. I want to give the county attorney's office some money. That would be at the request of the finance officer, which is the clerk auditor, or upon the governing body's motion. So it can come from the county legislative body or at request from the finance officer if Kazir wants to give me money out of his budget, or vice versa. Maybe I'll be generous this year and I can give some money to him. But so that's how that one works. Then we deal with 26. This is increase in budgetary fund or county general fund public hearing. Before the governing body may by resolution increase a budget appropriation of any budgetary fund, increase the budget of the county general fund, or make an amendment to a budgetary fund or the county general fund, the governing body shall hold a public hearing giving all interested parties an opportunity to be heard. Notice of the public hearing described in subsection 1 shall be published at least 5 days before the day of the hearing, and at least one issue of the newspaper generally circulated in the county, or if there's not a paper, which obviously that doesn't apply, on the Utah Public Notice website and on the homepage of the county's website, either in full or as a link if the county has a publicly viewable website until the hearing takes place. So that one is dealing with when you have these unappropriated funds that need to then get into the budget. So that's done by resolution. It's my understanding that this request is a mixture. That we have some that are, or is this all just coming from general unappropriated money?
This is all unappropriated money.
Okay. So if that's the case, that we're dealing with unappropriated money, section 26 would apply. If we were dealing with transferring within departments or between departments, then those other two code sections would apply.
Okay. So, in your opinion, are we following process here?
If everything that we're dealing with in this resolution is unappropriated funds, then we would follow section 26.
Okay. Okay, any further comments from the commission? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Resolution 5/9/2022 R1, the 2022 budget increase as presented, including authorization of signature.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks. Comes to the section of public comment on our agenda. Ask you to take 3 minutes or less and open it for 10 minutes.
I know I come up a lot, and I apologize, but I'll only present things that I have grandma of, because then it's proof of documentation of an entity. So I did a grandma on the last time any elected official has received a raise in Uintah County. And I want to read them out loud because I do appreciate Sheriff Labrum. I think police are underpaid. I've said that before. I think they put their life on the line every day they go to work, and they spend time away from their family. And I agree with the increase on the elected official raise for him. But on my grandma, I pulled all the elected officials' pay, not really pay, I guess the last time they received pay increases, and the county treasurer, Wendy Long, hasn't got one since 2015. The county recorder, Brenda McDonald, hasn't got one since 2014. The county assessor, Barbara Simper, hasn't got one since 2015. The clerk auditor, Mike Wilkins, has not received one since 2015. John, you are not on the grandma. I don't know why. I would stick up for you in a second
he's
as
not
an
elected.
elected.
I'm an
official.
appointed position, so
Okay.
it would be, Jamin Thomas fills the position
He
of
did get
county
one
attorney.
in 2021, a huge increase. And I just want to recommend to the commissioners, if you're going to give, Mr. Horrocks told me once that they looked at department heads and they needed to increase wages through the department heads. Some people got $8 an hour raise increase. I'm just wondering why our elected officials haven't ever been looked at. That's a
Actually,
long time, 2015 and no raises, but I just think you're kind of selecting a few, and even the county, most of the county employees received $1 an hour merit raise.
Can I ask a question on that? Because that, real quick, Tammy, on the county attorney, I think that was reflective of when Jamin went from a chief deputy to the county attorney, right? Because that would have happened in 2021, so I don't think that would be viewed as a raise of the county. The county attorney has
Okay.
held solid
he was
at,
just appointed.
since probably at the same timeline of all the
2015.
others, but I just wanted to make that clarification that Jamin received an increase because he went from the chief deputy on the criminal side to the county attorney, which would be an increase of pay.
Okay, thank you, John. I promise I will only do grandmas. I will only present what I have in a grandma because it's proof of a documentation of an entity.
Yeah, I appreciate, thank you.
Can I throw something out at you? Yeah. Grandma, our research on all the elected officials, and actually see that we have looked at them. Grandma that. You'll find a graph and things that we've put together that you can see. Yep. Any other public comment? You guys have any comment you'd like to share?
I did, Mark, I was going to ask you, on the sales tax, and this probably is, it's not timely. I think all of us can see what's been happening to us for the last, since COVID. And I'm looking at these numbers, and are these corrected at all for bias due to extraordinary inflation that we've been seeing?
Which numbers are you addressing?
I'm looking at the 2022 sales tax because we do have, most of the sales, not all, have a increased base price, especially food, and a lot other things have gone up. So when we're looking at these, this is a common error made by some people looking at, it's like, wow, look how much money we're getting in, but how much money you have lost. Right now, wages are falling behind inflation, even though wages are going up. So is there any, this is just a flat interpretation, there's no correction for bias due to these extraordinary PPI and CPI?
No, there's no correction factored into it. Most of the numbers you have in front of you are actual numbers.
Yeah.
So there's only 8 months that are being projected. Those projections were just very simple projections, taking the increase, the percentage increase that we're seeing over 2021 to this year.
So
far.
they're linear.
For the four, yeah, they are. And so for the county sales tax, we've seen a 22.54% increase when you compare 2021 to 2022 for the first 4 months. So that rate is just applied in a linear fashion.
Okay. Because of today's dollar comparison between 2022, 21, 2019, they're
No,
15%.
yeah, there's no factor in there for
20 off.
current dollars.
Okay. Just curious, because our operating costs do go up even if our budget goes up. That's not profit.
Correct.
All right, well, just curious, so I knew what I was looking at.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it brings us to the time of our agenda for a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you.